books are evil.
Light and fluffy.
Evil is so fun.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Reading Queens podcast. We are here to talk about books and life and random tangents, as we do. Today, we have two queens here with me. I'm Valia. Hello.
I'm Joanna. Hi.
I'm Rose. Hello.
Yes, and we're hanging out and talking all things witchy reads. So that's the topic for today. I know you're so shocked because you did not see the title for this episode, obviously. So we're going to start off with a quick catch up. So Joanna, what have you been up to? Tell us about your life.
So I think I talked about before, but we do those movies on a big projection screen out in my common area. And my husband's been having to work on weekends lately, and I set it up all by myself on Friday with a little bit of help. And we watched The Nightmare Before Christmas. It was the last warm day. It was like 75 that day. And Rose, there's snow in the mountains now.
I love that. Oh my god.
So now it's like cold, but we got in our last like summery activity.
Wow.
Cute.
Right before it was raining all day on Saturday, and then I was driving my kid to school this morning, and I was thinking of you, Rose, as I was looking at the mountains.
I love it. I love those mountains.
That's cute. It got to 65 this morning. I got excited. I'm like, ooh, chilly morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 30s or 40s this
jealous.
morning. It was chilly.
The only Arizonian ever to be jealous of cold weather. It's fine. It's fine. Rose, how are you?
So I'm doing great. I'm super excited because I am from Houston, and the Houston Astros are going to the World Series.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I have been a fan forever and ever and ever, and I know that there may be some listeners that don't care for the Astros because, you know, we had that little scandal the last time we went to the World Series. But I'm so excited for our team, and I love them, and it's like my entire life has been all about the Astros. And like today, I was like, is there a game today? I'm trying to like schedule my life around the Astros. So that's really it. I mean, the Astros and the usual stuff, you know, the Penny and Daisy and whatever.
The whatever. Yeah, our lives.
Yeah.
Whatever. No, that's cool.
Yes.
I remember that my introduction to the American baseball was the Diamondbacks winning the World Series, and then they just haven't won since.
Cool.
I know, it was pretty cool. It was like a really big moment, but after that, I mean, was like, oh yeah, cool baseball, and then after that I was like, nah, okay, I'm good. Let me find a sport I actually like. I like going to the games. I'm just not a big fan of watching them on TV because it's just not the same. Like, I like the atmosphere versus the actual game. I like playing it as well because we played it a lot in like camp and high school and stuff like that. But yeah, that's cool though. Congratulations to them for making that far.
I know. It's
Yeah, it's cool to be a fan and have your team be in, you know, the final thing. So whatever team it is, it's cool. I do not have cold weather, but I created a little bit of atmospheric weekend for myself because I was not feeling that great. So I was like, okay, you know what? Saturday is going to be all about spooky things. So I watched The Midnight Club. Please, everybody go watch it because I am absolutely obsessed with that show. I am obsessed with Christopher Pike. I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, that he was like one of the first like authors I read when I came to America, and he like helped me basically learn English by his little books. And like I still remember like Remember Me, like I was obsessed with that book. Like I kept reading it over and over, and like the weekends it was like that spooky paranormal high school YA, you know, kind of thing. And The Midnight Club it's a really cool thing because it's actually based on a true story. So the original book is based on a group of terminally ill kids who would like get together and tell each other stories when they were like in hospice. And he actually named the main character after the girl that he like, you know, that told him that. And the show is really cool because it takes like the stories that they tell each other at the Midnight Club are other Christopher Pike stories. So I was like,
cool.
It was really cool. I didn't expect that for some reason. I thought they would just like make up stories and the Midnight Club would just be like the book, but they actually took, I'm like, oh, I know this book. Like, you know, I got like excited anytime they would like name a story. I'm like, oh, The Wicked Heart. I love that one, you know, kind of thing. So it was really cool. And like the casting was really great because they are basically mostly newcomers. Like some of them were like have never even been in a movie or a show before, so it was like really nice because like I like newcomers.
I like it when shows do that.
Yes.
Yeah, like raw talent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the Flanagan, Mike Flanagan, he's the one who did the Hill House and the Bly Manor, and he has this thing about like the way he writes, okay, it's just like he writes these spooky, scary shows, but he always brings in the heart like to it, right? You always feel things. It's like the real scary stuff is emotions, you know, kind of thing. Like that's how he is, and that's how I felt with this thing. So I'm like, everybody please watch it. I want season 2 and I want people to talk to about and you know, it's like young adult, right? So it like fits right in like my wheelhouse. So I was very excited.
Yay.
Okay, so I've heard it's super depressing.
Yes and no.
Because I was hearing from that. They're like, don't watch it unless you want to just be in like the deepest, darkest depression. And so I was like,
yeah,
maybe
so
not
it's,
for me.
I would,
but now I'm hearing this from you.
But like I'm saying, like he does not shy away from hard emotions, right? So I wouldn't say it's definitely not as creepy as Hill House or Bly Manor. Like it still has creepy vibes, but it's definitely not that creepy. Obviously, I'm not the best judge of creepiness because nothing phases me.
I mean, nothing scares you.
Yeah, it did not. I know that the first episode had the most like Guinness's World of Records for jump scares. So if you watch it, be advised, you will be jump scared. But it's not like scary. It's just jump scares because they really use that trope in it for the stories. But
I love jump scares.
Yeah, so watch the first episode. But they are hard subjects, and you get so involved into this little tiny found family that you're like, it's like you're there with them experiencing their heartache. And like, yes, it is very depressing because they are terminally ill kids at a hospice. So like it's, you know, going into it that it's not going to be like light and fluffy, but it gave me so many good emotions because of the bad emotions. Like I don't know how to like explain that. You have to be prepared. I told Tess to watch it and I was like, but be prepared for a lot of feelings. Like just be prepared. And
so that's good to know too, because I have to be in the right mindset, because sometimes I need light and
this
fluffy.
is not a light and fluffy. It is spooky and it's very heavily on the emotion and real subjects, stuff that like is very everyday, realistic, hard stuff that people deal with. And I did not think I was in the mindset for that, but it just really I don't know, it just like filled me, you know, kind of like sometimes you just watch something that's kind of like it hits you on every level, and that's how I felt about this.
Wow.
So I really hope that they get a second season, but if they don't, Mike already said that he will give like what second season would have been and answer all the questions on Twitter. So either way, you get an ending to the story, basically. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I have that, but please give me second season because I need it desperately.
Now, didn't he also do Midnight Mass?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I loved Midnight Mass.
Is that the one with the vampires?
No.
Well,
are they?
No.
Well, if you haven't seen it, it is.
I haven't. I had just heard that.
It is a mystery. Anyway, it is.
Okay.
It is a mystery about this little small town and their priest and what happens to him, and it's deep. It's emotionally deep, which is
that's what he does.
Yes, the theme across all of his shows. It really gets into the characters, and that is why I love all of his shows. But for some reason, Midnight Mass just, to me, was the top of the top.
Okay.
I really was moved by those characters.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's like I'm just such a fan of him and his writing, the way he really just like pulls that emotion out of things that you don't expect. Like you were watching a creepy show, right? You think like, oh, horror, death, blah blah blah, but then like, oh, you're over here like bawling your eyes out. Like, what is happening? And I think that's just like it really is.
Incredible.
I want to rewatch it now just to watch it for those beats and like how he tells a story, you know? And I feel like I've done that. Like I did that with Hill House. I rewatched it for the story and to like see it from a different perspective after experiencing the first time. And the same thing with Hush. Hush is one of my favorite like creepy movies, and I make everybody watch it in silence. I'm like, you have to experience it how it was meant to be experienced. If somebody talks, they're out of the room. No, but
it's Hush for a reason.
Yes, exactly. But that is something else that him and his wife actually wrote that together, and
wow, I didn't know that.
She's the main character in that. That's his wife.
Really?
Yeah, and she's in Midnight Mass. He uses a lot of the same. He's like a Gary Marshall, where he like reuses the same actors for his stuff, and he has like a core people. He did the same thing. Midnight Mass has some people that are in Midnight Club, actually.
Wow.
So I actually like really love that about him. And all the actors always talk about how he like creates a family on set, and like having like the same cast and crew sometimes is really like comfortable for actors, especially those who have never acted. They like coming into a family and they feel like part of it, you know? So I just like really love that. But yeah, I rewatch Hush. Every time I rewatch it, I like learn something new about storytelling from that. And I just love that. Okay, this is like a Mike Flanagan fan podcast episode apparently. Goodness gracious. But it's a perfect segue into, actually, I did also watch The School for Good and Evil. Joanna has watched it too. I liked it. I have some thoughts about it that I will not discuss here because this episode will be forever long.
Well, I want to hear.
But we'll talk about it.
It's on my list after the Astros.
Hey, but another thing to add to your list that's light and fluffy and so funny, and my husband liked it too, was Rosalind.
Okay.
Oh.
On Hulu. It's Romeo and Juliet. Rosalind's
I haven't heard
perspective.
Of that.
It's funny.
Really?
I saw some edits on TikTok about it. I was like, oh, I need to watch this.
It's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to watch it. Light and fluffy.
That too, not light and fluffy. No, I'm just kidding. So
it's a good palate cleanser between all these scary shows.
I suppose.
Yes.
Who needs a palate cleanser? Anyway, I just go from one to the next. I get it. It's fine.
Not all of us like stabby things like you do.
Oh, I need a good stabby thing. Like I ranted about
just
this.
Bloody.
Yes, I ranted about this on the last episode. I watched the last Halloween movie, like the trilogy, quote unquote, and I hated it so much it broke my brain.
I am not even going to watch it because, number one, why in the heck is Michael Myers still alive? Don't tell me anything.
I'm not saying anything.
Because I really lost track of that whole franchise, but just the whole concept and idea of it, and what happens at the end of this one, I don't even want to say it, but anyway, I'm not gonna.
We should talk about books.
Yes, we should finally segue. Sorry, guys. Okay, you cannot have an October episode with me and not like you have to stop me. Okay, my tangents will keep going. But anyway, we are in the spooky season, so our topic for today are witchy reads. So we're just going to go around the room, quote unquote, and talk about what we read that's witchy and fun, and maybe not fun, I don't know. But Joanna, there you go. Fun. Joanna's going to start us off with some fun.
I'll start.
Go, Joanna.
It was really good. So I read The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw, and I love this book. I don't read many witchy books, so I had to like purposely go out and look for one that I thought might be interesting. Anyway, so The Wicked Deep is about, 200 years ago, there's these 3 sisters who came to the town of Sparrow, Oregon. And they were beautiful and very charismatic, and they owned a perfume shop, but they fell in love with all the wrong men who were unavailable and were...
Of course.
So they were drowned as witches because they were stealing all of the husbands and things like that in the town, and the women didn't like it. So they were drowned in in the harbor
Okay.
right there,
Ooh.
200 years ago. Okay, so present day, the main character's name is Penny Talbot, and she lives on an island with her mom, where the lighthouse is. And they have this thing every summer, starting on June 1st, is the swan season. So the sister's last name was Swan. And the swan season on June 1st, each of the Swan sisters possesses one of the girls in the town. And from June 1st until the summer
Equinox.
Until then, they find boys and men drowned in the harbor, killed by these possessed girls. And so during the swan season, all these tourists come, and there's sometimes quote unquote witch hunt, trying to figure out which of the currently living women or girls in the town are possessed by one of these sisters, and trying to stop them. But it doesn't matter. There's always boys that are found drowned during that time. And then on June 21st, the swan season's over and everything's good again. And they have been dealing with this for 200 years. So the story starts with Penny Talbot. They have this big festival party thing, bonfire on June 1st, and kind of dare the girls to go out into the water, because they have to go out into the water in order to be taken over and everything. And there's this new boy that comes to town. He has no idea anything about the town, but he comes looking for work, and she tells him, you should leave. It's not safe here because of this whole swan season, but he doesn't believe it. She needs help with the lighthouse because her mom she's kind of sick. And so she hires him. And so it's this whole mystery of, because then obviously boys start turning up dead. This mystery of trying to figure out which of the girls are possessed and who's going to die next and all of that. And it's got romance and feels, and it's really good. I really like that.
That sounds right up my alley.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. And it has the whole, it's in Oregon, but it has kind of the Salem feels, this town that's been dealing with. And you get throughout the story, you get more history about the three sisters and what their lives were kind of like. And yeah.
Okay. And it's a standalone, right?
Yeah, it's a standalone.
Oh, that's nice.
I know.
Which was, perfect. Yeah.
One and done for the spookiness. No, I like that. I like that setting a lot. I have a thing for I haven't read very many good set on an island with a murder mystery and spooky feels books, but I've picked up a few and been disappointed by them. So maybe this one will right the wrongs.
This one was good. And they don't spend the whole time on the island. They go back and forth because her school's on the mainland, and she has to go into town for things, but yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Fine. I'll add it. Whatever.
And it had some twists and things that I did not see coming.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
You can't tell me there's a twist, okay?
Yeah,
Because then I immediately figure it out.
There are no twists to the story.
Way to
at
go.
all.
Thanks. I was telling my dad that yesterday. He was like, "There's a twist." I'm like, "Don't say it," because I will know immediately.
Note to self: don't mention ever again if there's a twist.
No, please don't. That happened to me. What was the last? I mean, not the last book, but the one book that I was just everybody. Oh, The Silent Patient. I remember when that came out, and everybody was just like, "Oh my goodness, it has the best twist in the world." I literally figured it out in the first chapter.
Because they told you. Otherwise, you would not have had it on your radar, right?
No, I don't know. I pretty much figure out everything out really fast, which is quite annoying. But I also it. For me, books a lot of times are more about how they got there. Even if I know going into it, oh, it's gonna be this murder mystery, and I figure it out really fast that it's gonna be this setting and this is the killer. I wanna the journey to get there to be good. Yeah. And if it's not good, then I'm disappointed. If it is good, then I'm fine figuring out the twist. With The Silent Patient, I was just okay, this is the twist. Let's see if we get. And then the journey there was good. So I was okay, I am satisfied. I like this,
right.
Kind of thing. That's how most stuff is to me. So it's a thing. Anyway, Rose, let's talk about your book.
So, before I talk about my book, I'm working really hard on planning I'm not even going to say it. My next book, I hope, surprises you, Valia. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
That has a twist. No, it
doesn't. Okay. I should not have said anything. So, Joanna's book had 3 sisters, and my Witchy read also has 3 sisters.
Yay for sisters.
So I know. Is that like a thing?
That's kind of how it goes.
Is.
You know,
it should be.
The 3 sisters.
It's a thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, gosh, I didn't know.
And there's 3 of us.
Oh my gosh.
We're
So
right in it.
I read, and I actually am in the process of reading. I haven't finished yet, disclosure. Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova.
Okay.
And this is book 1 of the Brujas of Brooklyn. And the reason why I picked this book is because I too, like Joanna, I don't read a whole lot of witchy books, but I am moving into a witchy season for my writing, and I'm incorporating a lot of more witchiness in my books. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to read this one because a lot of people talk about this author and this series and they love it. And so I was excited to dive in and figure out all this stuff going on with these brujas. So we have the 3 sisters, and they have like powers. So one of the sisters is a healer. It's Lula, and then Alex, and then Rose.
Oh.
I know. I was like, okay, I like Rose. So Lula is a healer. Alex is the middle sister, and the book is about her. And she has undiscovered powers. Powers that are kind of lurking, but she doesn't really know what they are yet. And then Rose is the youngest sister, and she is kind of like this healer / intuitive kind of person, can kind of read minds and stuff like that. One of the things that's really cool is this author created something called a Death Day ceremony, which is the big ceremony when you turn 16. Instead of a like quinceañera at 15, they have a Death Day ceremony. And what the ceremony does, it helps you embrace the spirits of your family, your ancestors. And at that Death Day, it's kind of like a coming out celebration. You connect with those spirits, and it helps you like realize your powers and or hone your powers. So for Alex, it is her way of discovering her powers.
Okay.
But before, and I don't want to give anything away, but before that ceremony, something happens to her, and her powers, and this is early on, I'm not giving anything away, her powers actually come out. And they're huge. Like she's this, what they call an encantrix, right? So an encantrix. Like she is like this super duper 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 powerful witch. And she doesn't want it. She doesn't want to be a witch. She wants to be normal, and she wants to just like not have any weirdness in her family because she's treated differently at school because she's quote unquote a bruja in a bruja family, and she's bullied and she's made fun of. And there's this one scene in the beginning of the book where this dude, like jock at gym, he like throws the ball really hard in her face, and it's like she's completely bullied and ridiculed, and she doesn't want to be that way anymore. She wants to be quote unquote normal. So her death day is coming, and she's trying to figure out how she can get rid of her powers. Like she doesn't want any powers. She knows she has them. She doesn't want them. She wants to get rid of them. And so her big plan is at the death day ceremony, instead of embracing her powers, she's going to deny them and banish them. And
wow.
I know. And so it's early on. I don't know if I should say this. I'm going to say it. So at the ceremony, she is her family has a book of cantos, right? Which is like their little spells that they use. She goes into the book, she finds a spell to banish powers, and she uses that at the Death Day ceremony. And there's like a bunch of wind, and everything is breaking in the house, and the floor is like trembling like an earthquake. It was like all this mayhem. And when she opens her eyes, every single family member who's there for the ceremony is gone. Like, she didn't banish her powers. She banished her family.
Nice.
And so I'm not going to say, I know. That's all happens very early on, and I think all of that's even in the book blurb. And so her journey is figuring out learning more about herself and her family so that she can bring them back. That's like the rest of the book is that. So it was really cool. I really liked the Bruja vibes, and I really love books about sisters and family, because I think that's just a cool thing. One of the things that I didn't realize when I was reading this book is that it is actually an LGBTQ book. And I did not even know that. And so as I was reading it and I started picking up these really strong emotions that she has for her best friend, I was like, oh my gosh, she's in love with her best friend. And I have actually never read a book that is subtle with LGBTQ, right? Like a coming of age and a self-discovery. Like, I think the last book that I read, which was a long time ago, Perks of Being a Wallflower, which was like, hey, this person is gay, and that's his character. This is her having these feelings for her friend. And I was like, wow, because it was so beautiful the way she described how her friend made her feel. Like when she was at school and she was being bullied, and her friend would extend a hand to pick her up, and when she looked at her friend's face, it was like looking at sunshine. And I was like, wow, that is so beautifully written, the way that she felt about her friend. Anyway, I digress because that's not really focusing on the witchy vibes. But she doesn't want to be a witch. And I thought that was super believable coming from where she was in life with being bullied for being, quote unquote, a bruja. So without giving anything else away, that's pretty much my summary of that. And it was cool and interesting. It's not like anything I've ever read before. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's the part about this podcast that I like and try to get you to, is reading things that you wouldn't normally read, just to experience them for yourself, because there's stuff that I don't like genres I don't read just because they're not my cup of tea, but I have read them because I want to know for sure. So it's cool to read outside of your comfort zone every now and then. Yeah. Yes. That's cool.
I'm so glad
Agreed.
Yes, I'm so glad that I picked this up because it's got so many great things in it.
And now this is something that's interesting or not interesting to you, kind of thing. That's how I feel about, I don't remember, we had an episode a couple weeks back, or was it last month, that I read a book and I had to pick a different book for the podcast because I was like, this is not my cup of tea. It's loved by people, but not me,
Yeah.
But so my book is a adult, I would call it a witchy rom-com.
Ooh,
okay.
Because it's not really, which I actually really love witchy rom-coms, because it gives me all the paranormal feels that I really enjoy, but usually has a really cute setting, which is a small town, and a tight-knit community, you know, like kind of like that, without there being any like super great evil craziness happening. Mm-hmm. So the name of the book is The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, and it's actually the second book in her like a witchy rom-com series. The first book follows a different characters.
What's the name of the first one?
X-Hex? Yes. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I look when I was looking for something to read, I almost picked one of those.
Oh, okay. So I read that
because they looked
they are fun.
The X-Hex.
Yeah, they are fun. And Erin Sterling is actually a young adult writer, Rachel Hawkins. So I love like her writing style already. So that's when I actually think originally, both of these books were sent to me as ARCs. So like originally I was like, didn't even know that that's what the book was gonna be. I just liked Rachel Hawkins' books. And so this one is her adult like witchy rom-com kind of thing. And so they follow different main characters each time. So the first book focuses on this girl who basically like casts a spell on her ex, like the guy that just broke up with her, and then like I don't know, 10-15 years later he comes back to town and like to break the curse because it activated. I don't remember it completely. But then this second book follows like a fan favorite from the first series or from the first book. And it's her cousin. And then the brother of the first guy, who's like the people who discovered the town. They're like these rich, snobby people that don't even live there anymore. And so now this brother, he's the oldest and he's like super, super snobby. Super rich, super like does everything that the dad says, so he doesn't have like the best relationship with his brothers because he's like the good brother, you know, that does everything. But then he basically kind of is like, peace out, dad, I'm going to this town, I'm gonna open a shop, and we're gonna like figure out what's going on with the ley lines there or something like that. So then Gwen, who's our witch, our girl, she has a shop already, and so he opens a shop against across the street from her. And they do not like each other at all.
Are they competitors?
And now they're competitors.
Okay.
Because she's already met him. Like, I think she met him once, or maybe she didn't meet him because he didn't come to the wedding. So she hated him because he didn't come to the wedding of her cousin and his brother, right? Yeah. So she's like, you know, and she's super outspoken, super spunky, and so they like rivals basically. And so
sounds like you've got mail.
A little bit, yes. And then they
does.
They have like this fluke where they end up like covered in glitter that they think is a spell, and they kiss each other because it's like a kiss spell. But then they like figure out that anyway, there's like a lot of stuff.
Cute.
They just really want to kiss.
That is so cute.
And then her magic like starts going away, and so she has to figure out. And then she like takes on, there's like a college for witches, or like a regular college, but there's like a section for witches in that college. And so then she like takes on these like 3 witches to like teach them how to do stuff. So it's like a really cute small community of like witches, and he's obviously a witch too. And so like they have to work together to figure out like what's going on in town and why her magic is going away. And then like they're also competing, so they like keep doing these things to like offset the other with the store, you know. And he's like, I'm gonna be like all proper, and he's like has this like atmospheric setup, and she's over there like, I don't know, like makes the monkey talk or something like that to bring customers in. Like, it's just like really fun. So it's like
Hallmark.
Yeah, it is. It's
witches.
Super Hallmarky for witches. Like, that's how it was. And it gave me like those cozy vibes and like those witchy feels. So yeah, there's like, I mean, there's a conflict, but it's not like a end of the world big and bad, you know, kind of thing. It's just literally like the cutesy conflict. So yeah, so it was really cute. Yeah. It was like really fast paced. I think the second book is out. It came out in September. Yeah. So both book 1 and 2 are out. But yeah, it was really good. And I really like the covers. I'm like such a fan of them because they're like rom-com.
Yeah, I love the covers
but witchy,
too.
You know?
Yeah.
I have to look them up.
Like I said, I almost, like when I found The Wicked Deep, I just wanted to read that, but those were the ones that I had been looking at.
They are adults, so they are slightly spicy. I will say that, but they're pretty clean otherwise. Like there's not, I mean, there's like some cussing and stuff like that, but they're not like overly. I read this. There's this super like famous paranormal rom-com series, and I tried reading the first book, and it was just like, it was so dirty to me. Like, it was just every single page, and I just couldn't get into the feel of it.
It was too much.
It was too much. That's my personal preference. I'm not judging anybody. That's just for me. But I was like disappointed because the cover and the description had those rom-com like cozy feels, witchy feels, and then like the book itself wasn't delivering. So this one delivered in that sense, which made me very happy, basically.
Nice.
So that's my book. My next read might be The Wicked Deep. I don't know. I feel like I need to move that up on my list now. But yeah. But Joanna, what are you reading next?
I'm reading A Darker Shade of Magic. Finally, I'm like years behind the rest of you, but
I am too.
Tess had recommended that one in a one of the first podcasts or something, and yeah.
Okay.
I'm like halfway into it.
Sweet. Rose, what are you reading next?
So I think I'm going to read, because I think I'm going to stick with this witchy vibe because it's good for me as I'm, my writing kind of changes a little bit. I want to read Kingdom of the Wicked. Is that the first one?
Yes. Okay, so my box set just came for that.
Yeah.
Because I pre-ordered like the Barnes & Noble version because I wanted all three of them. So I want to read that soon as well.
Yeah. So you have it? You have to send me a picture
of the whole box set?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see how it all looks. Like, do an unboxing.
It actually is still closed over there because I wanted to do an unboxing, but I haven't done it yet. So maybe I will do one.
Let me know when you do it.
Okay, cool. But that book has been recommended a lot to me, so I need to read it too.
It has like 12,000 really good reviews.
Oh yeah, that too.
And that cover is so cool.
Yeah, I like the Barnes & Noble special editions because they tweak the cover just enough that most of the time I like it better. So I'm like, if I'm going to order it, I'm going to order the Barnes & Noble version, be special.
Cool, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'll show it off so you guys can see it. But yeah, so that is our conversation for today. Thank you so much for being here at our Valia goes on random tangents about slasher stuff again. Podcast. Yeah. But yeah, before you go, please go ahead and leave us a star rating or a review. Those help a lot. And then tell everybody about our podcast because obviously it's the best thing ever. Also follow us on Instagram at Reading Queens Pod, and we also have a Facebook under the same handle. Come hang out with us. We're active. We're here to talk books. Ask us questions. Ask us what we're reading. We will tell you. We will ask the same. Just talk to us. We love talking to you guys. So please don't feel weird or shy about it. Just do it, okay?
Do it.
Yeah, basically. And then be back next week. We'll have another fun conversation. 2 more queens will be here. And I think I hit all the points. If I've forgotten something, my bad. But we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.